Captain Manrinson.
Can you hear me? Yeah. I can't hear myself because of hay fever. Completely blocked ears and nose and everything. But we have. Okay. Just to remind everybody, the hordes of people watching the meeting, hordes of members of the public watching the meeting, that the meeting is being video recorded. Okay, so we'll start with a public session. We don't have a presentation from any guest speakers, so we'll go straight to item B to allow questions relating to the council recreation ground to be relayed to the charity. Any questions for the charity? Okay. C, allow representations regarding planning applications within the parish of Anston to be considered later in the meeting. Nothing under C. D, to allow one question per elector for the civil parish of Anston on a topic which the parish council has responsibility for which affects the parish.
Am I allowed to ask a question on behalf of an elector? I've been told it's not a legal issue, it's just protocol, and it's the chairman's decision. But also we can't be
Question per elector.
In fact, can I just come in, Chair? On item F.
So it is possible to do it. Apparently it is possible, so it can do.
Sorry, children. It says item F, through the chairman, to allow parish council members to address any questions raised by the public relating to parish council matters and to allow supplementary questions. It doesn't say the person has to be here, does it?
That's raised by the section D. So they only have to be raised in section D for the council to address the question.
So could you do it under section F to allow parish council members to address?
Discussion.
Great. So do we have anything under E to allow ward members where present to address any questions raised by the public? Does it relate to RMBC matters or does it relate?
No, it's the parish.
Yeah. Okay. So nothing under E. So actually, do you want to raise that now under F?
Yes, one of the electors asked me regarding the digging Anterstone's wood. Is because the public have been advised to go, it's not quite correct, the public have been advised to go. What risk assessments have been done for the public to be present, and to cover by underlying insurances if anything mishap occurred while there.
Okay.
Well, no, actually, because when the
They did last year.
But they are there.
Okay, I'll relay the question via the clerk.
Yeah.
Stuart just mentioned that apparently risk assessments were carried out last year, but Anna said that she'll double check.
Can I can't hear what you're saying because of cross discussion here.
Go on, ladies and gents, can we?
Make sure that we're covered by and if any mishap does happen, and then we don't not liable legally or financially. So if we are covered, then that's no problem.
Okay, so Anna will confirm with the Durham that there are risk assessments in place. Brilliant. Okay, Chris.
I just want to
Excuse me, Chair, before you refer, can you tell me whether these chairs are on camera or is the situation different from what we're on there?
Oh, they are.
There should be, basically.
Are they on the piece or?
This is the first one on camera.
No.
We don't think that one's working.
We're on that one.
Do you want to?
Well, no, I don't know what part of the thing you're filming.
That corner isn't being filmed.
No, it's just designated in past to it, so I'm asking you a question.
No, I'm just saying that I believe we don't have a legal requirement to do it, however it's been recommended to us.
No, we've got to do it.
I just wanted to say, people walk through the stones anyway, what's the difference if we're stopping sort of in the kilometres?
They might fall in holes when they're digging.
The present, so
They can't.
They might fall over if they dig them.
Christine, do you know if they're actually invited onto the area of the dig itself?
All it is the path, and there's people standing in it and round it. 1 kilometre standing.
Okay, thank you. So, as we said earlier, Anna's going to relay that question about risk assessments, and we should get that back from them. Right, but Christine's point is noted that they're probably just going to be stood on the path to the best of your understanding.
Are people who are walking the stones covered generally?
No.
Because it's the same thing.
No, it seems to be invited.
They've been officially
They haven't
invited.
been invited, we've been given permission that if people want to go, they can. It's not a specific invitation. It's a
That's no open invitation for both. Anyway.
You're welcome if you want to go.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anything else under item F? I can see an agenda.
What's item F?
Item F is through the chairman to allow parish council members to address any questions raised by the public in section D relating to parish council matters, to allow a supplementary question per previously received written question if that member of the public is present.
So is that just a normal question?
No, it's for councillors to ask
So it's
questions.
to allow parish council members to address questions raised by the public in section D.
Well, yeah, that's what we take it.
So there was a question in section D of the public session to allow one question per elector, and then F through the chairman to allow parish council members to address any questions raised by the public in section D. But we didn't have any questions from members of the public.
I'll wait for the thing every month. You were talking to
They did have
us.
He did have his piece of paper. Do you want to raise a question?
Yeah, I do want to raise a question, yeah, actually. I'd like to know why. My name's been put on internet here by Council Thornton. It seems to me that this is just getting a little bit ridiculous. In fact, I think, to be quite honest with you, I'm starting to feel a little persecuted by it. And you laugh all you want because you've been reported to Standards Committee for it.
He didn't sign on
Because I believe that we keep getting here mentioned as contractors with a deliberate intention to try to ruin our businesses. And to be quite honest, we've just had enough of it now, so this is the way it's going to go. Councillor Thornton, I'll tell you here now, has been reported to Standards Committee. And if it continues,
Don't make threats at me.
no, I'm not making a threat. If it
We are.
continues-
I believe you're threatening me now, so don't make threats.
Gentlemen, can you please?
telling you,
That's
if
not a
you
discussion
report
under
it-
item D.
And now you're shouting at me.
That's where you're going.
And now you're shouting at me, so now you're making threats at me.
You're saying I'm threatening you, I'm just informing the council.
You're shouting at me, and you're making threats at me.
Come on, gentlemen.
Standards Committee.
Well, I didn't see-
This isn't.
Why are you all lumpy? That's where you're going.
looking at him when it's Council Thornton that's interrupting when he's speaking to the
I
chair?
did actually say that it was both of them.
Now, you know as well as I do, Drew, this is a personal issue between me and council, but it's been running for years.
Yes.
And it's been running for years, and I'll tell you why it's been running for years. I'll tell you why. Because when Councillor Thornton slapped the pensioner, we made a police statement. That's what it's all about.
What's the question?
This isn't relevant. This isn't relevant to section D here.
Well, I'm afraid it's
This
just
isn't
lied.
the question.
I answered why at all.
Can you
I don't
phrase
have
it?
to tell I to prove my point. What
Now
I'm
you shout,
saying is,
stop pointing at me.
what I'm
Stop
saying
making
is,
threats at me.
what are we going to do?
Gentlemen, this is a matter for
pointing at
discussion
me.
outside of this meeting.
Listen, it's not.
Can we have a question?
It is
Don't
a
raise your voice
question. I
up.
want to know why Councillor Thornton feels the need at every twist and turn for any of the internet stating that we're contractors. And the only reason I can see for it is because this councillor is going to deliberate intention to try to ruin our businesses.
Can I
And
have
if that
that?
is his intention, let him have the backbone to say it.
Can you lower your voice and phrase that as
I'll point it
a
to all.
question to the
Stop making
council?
threats at me.
That's right, you have to inform you. Through your action, right?
If this carries on, I'll suspend public session.
I've been reported to Standards Committee. Well, like it or you don't, that's where you
I'm
go.
not bothered. You're allowed.
Well, you know,
So, ladies and gentlemen, we've left the public session. It's been demonstrated that we can't conduct a public session correctly. So please bring that question to the next council meeting.
I brought it to this one.
Well, I'm speaking on same subject as Mr. Davis, apart from I've gone a little bit further. I took legal advice, and legal advice that I've been given, the council comes and writes on the website, whether it's signed this council or it's signed it or not, that if I have to take legal proceedings against anybody, it will be against Anston Parish Council for allowing Stuart Thornton to continue business on the website.
The council hasn't acted as a body
And the council hasn't acted
in that
to stop it
capacity.
happening.
We can't stop a member from
He is the
communicating with
council,
private.
24/7.
Yes, yes.
You sat with a solicitor, we the council 24/7, you sat with a solicitor, I took legal advice, and the legal advice is that I will take proceedings against Anston Parish Council.
If you're asking a question, you need to ask a question.
I will. No, don't tell me to shut up.
Can I make a question of order? I know we're in a public session.
Councillor Island.
I do believe that, because standing order still counts in public session.
Mr. Cannon, you have no
That,
threat to anybody.
Councillor Sadler is in breach of standing order 50, treating others with respect. Is that
Why do you keep protecting the two contractors?
See you again. We're registered.
Can we leave the public session now,
We're
please?
registered.
But I felt
I am joking.
Now you make-
Don't understand.
Now you're making.
I just also pointed
Oh,
out.
God.
Councillor Bentley.
Make it
Thank
better.
you,
Of course I am.
thank you, Chair. Can we draw this, the members of the public are obviously not satisfied with the council or individuals on it, has allegedly been reported to the Standards Committee.
No, allegedly.
Let the standards.
Can members of the public
for God's
let Councillor
sake,
Bentley
Let the Standards
speak?
Committee decide. Let's draw close to this matter. I'm getting sick and tired of it. Every meeting seems to go on this
You're talking
way.
about the conversation of Mr. Pearson. I haven't reported it to Standards Committee, not yet. I've gone further than that, took legal advice.
Well, this was a question session, not a debating session.
So, therefore...
Now they call it.
So are you all happy with that, then, Colin?
Why don't you have a word with Watchman Colin and tell him to stop bringing shit on there?
Now you're swearing.
None of these are questions.
No, we're not.
Thank you.
And the question is what we had no to do with until we got slated all our internet again.
Okay.
And you're allowing it to happen.
You're allowing it to happen.
Your chairman talked to me.
I cannot stop somebody putting something on the internet that I haven't seen.
Legal action, do it in
Okay, if you have a legitimate question for the council,
You're a legitimate
then bring it to the next
question.
question.
Why are we getting persecuted?
Chairman, standing on a point of order, Councillor Ireland just reiterated that standing orders apply even during the public session, is that correct? John?
I thought you were supposed to direct a question to the chair.
No,
To the public.
is it right, now you just stood up and said that standing orders apply during the public session?
Well, is that what you heard?
No, is that what you
Is
said?
that what you heard?
Right.
I'm aware, it's not a question and answer session for me.
Right, I'm going to be
It's
off,
a
right,
public session.
I'm not going to start arguing.
So, well, I'm not really. I think let's
So
move
I'm now
on
going to ask you
with everything else.
that you read out standing order number 97, please.
And what is the standard of matters?
I'd rather, Stuart, close the public session and carry on with the council meeting.
I will withdraw what I said.
Thank you.
Progress, Chair.
That's the end of the public session. It's the council meeting. So apologies for absence. We have apologies for absence from Councillor Coleman, who's unwell, and no further apologies for absence. Any items for members of DPI or personal interest under item 2? Miles?
That is all the line you show, your information. Not the number. That was state park, that's 17. Oh, thank you, I just realised I'm not Roman numerals anymore as well. Number 17. By personal interest, and then the chairman, Frank Woodward.
So 17, skate park route. items to declare? Yeah, personal interest. Okay. Item number 3.
Sorry, there's one, there's the, about the allotments, number 5 in section 5.
So is that 12.5
Yeah.
allotment agreement?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Item 3, items that the press and public may be excluded from.
Can I propose that item 11 is the confidential session, please, because we're discussing decision contracts. That was 12, 11.
12.11.
Can I suggest a couple, Chair? That item 4 be put into confidential session.
12.4. Yeah.
No, sorry, number 4.
Number 4.
Because the last time we discussed that issue, it was in confidential session. So I would suggest that needs to be confidential. Item 12.2, which is to do with Lockwood, because I believe RMBC are still threatening legal action against us if we don't comply with their instructions, and I'd like that to be in confidential session for legal matters. Item 4, 12.4, the contract for the old library. I would suggest that's confidential because it's a contract. Item 11, Councillor Tomes just mentioned, and item 12 is the same item as item 4, I believe.
12, sorry.
Sorry, 12,
Yeah.
12, yeah, I believe that's...
It's number 4.
Pardon?
It's number 4 on the agenda, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's on twice, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, me too on.
Okay, any other
No,
items?
just a quick question, Chairman. 12.11. Did you say 12.11, Colin?
He said 12.11, the weed killer.
Why do you want that to go into private session? Is this what I'm holding here? Just so we know that. Well, this is surely invoices paid. This is past tense. Why are we putting it into private session? Yeah, but why does it want to be in private session?
To do with contracts.
Well, I know, but you have to have there's no legal reason to put it in private session.
It's a matter for council to decide
Yeah.
whether it goes into private session. So, shall we take the proposed items apart from that one and vote on them separately?
If you wish.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chair, can I just interrupt? Could I suggest, just bear with me a second, please, that item 11, obviously not 11, item 11.
12.11.
No, I'm about item 11, number 1.
12.11.
Sorry, it's a bit, yeah. Okay.
Item 11, number 1.
Spell it.
Fence.
Yeah.
Do we need to do that in confidential, because that's potentially a legal issue?
It is, but I don't have an update, Stuart.
No problem.
So you can, but I've not
Well,
sent...
if there's no update, we're not going to talk about this.
No. No.
Okay. So, shall we take Councillor Ireland?
Just to say that the item 4, I believe it should be an open session, irrespective of whether it's been in private session before, because it's not actually talking about anything confidential, such as contracts. It's purely the lawfulness of the decision. So there won't be any discussion about contracts in it. It's purely taking the advice from that we have and discussing that, which is not confidential, and I think we should be able to hear what we talk about and try to not have so many things in private session.
Me too.
For the public.
We do.
So I go on to 4, Chairman.
And can we just hear Miles and then
Sorry, no, I agree with
You
what's
just-
been said, sorry.
waving a pen in the air? Okay.
No,
Stuart?
I agree with what's been said.
I will suggest that needs to go into confidential session, because it was done, the last conversation we had was done in confidential session, and it was put into confidential by Councillor Ireland Senior. It's also to do with a contract of lease, therefore it should be in confidential session.
I disagree, Chair, because there's no discussion about money at all. We're just discussing the legality of whether that...
We just need to vote on these. Sorry to cut you off. Colin, the item that you proposed?
Is on its own, item 11.
Item 11. Okay. Do we have a seconder to move that into confidential session? All those in favour? Loud. Show of hands for all those in favour. Item 11.
Was it 12?
Fine. Item 11.
Oh,
is it 12, 11?
I don't want it to go into private session, I'm sick of stuff. No, you haven't been voted on.
Sorry, Colin, is that item 12, 11, or item 11?
I'd start again, Chair, if I was you on that, if you don't mind.
Can we start that one again? It was item 12, 11, the Krogat lease. Okay. Do we have a second?
12.
Weed killer invoices. Okay. Do we have a second?
Do you want to put weed killer invoices into private session?
It's private session.
Can I just ask a question?
Okay.
I'd just like to know why it's on as an agenda item, to be fair.
I don't know that, I don't know.
I'd like a bit of background information as well.
Would you like to know why I'm not telling you?
No, you can't.
Would you like to know? You really want to know?
No.
False accusations as well.
Okay, so we have a proposer and a seconder. All those in favour? Let's go.
I propose item 4 should be held in confidential session.
No.
Krogat lease. So that's the Krogat lease. A seconder for that? Christie? All those in favour?
No, I'm against it.
Okay, keep going down.
I don't see why we should talk about this in private.
Because it was originally talked about in private.
Can't keep
But
having everything
what
from
we're saying is
public.
that you illegally discussed it. We're going back to the beginning. You illegally discussed something.
Yeah.
Listen, we're voting and discussing whether we should hold a session.
Do we have those
It's
again?
not having a conversation, it's not helpful.
I agree,
Right,
we vote, and that's the end of it.
Do we have those against?
Karen, it's not in confidential session.
Right, again.
It's not.
He's done it.
Hang on, just right. So we have 5 for it to go into confidential session. But
But again, I'm against it.
I wasn't actually, because I was at that meeting when it was discussed, so I'm not.
Yeah, but surely you know enough history about it, Clive, don't you?
I do, but I don't know what went on at that meeting, which I'd like to.
Not a great deal, really.
Like to do. I mean, from what I've said, I've discussed everything that I did about that lease in open session, so I'm not bothered.
Yeah. Well, so therefore you should vote for it to...
So we should
in
vote,
open-
anyway.
Vote for it in open.
That it's not going to,
Oh, God.
it's to be an open session.
Yes, that's,
That's fine, yeah.
that's how it stands at the moment. It's an open session.
Right.
Should we move on then?
Bear in mind, if going into open session, anything that was said in that other room is confidential, and you can't discuss anything in public what was said in the other room.
Do we have anything else that needs to go into confidential session? Can we get a move on, given the time?
To consider... Chair, are we on 4 now? Are we on 4?
Can we just have one conversation?
Are we on,
Sorry.
are we on 4 now?
We're not on 4 yet. 12.2.
What we're doing...
Somebody suggested that 12.2 will go into
Right,
confidential.
I suggested that item 12.2,
I'll second that, just to get this moving.
because it's a potential legal issue.
All those in favour? Anything else for confidential session?
Item 4, 12.4.
12.4. It's just to authorise the clerk to
Well,
sign
it's a
it.
contract, and we may want to have a discussion on the contract.
12.4. Do we have a seconder for that? All those in favour? That's in confidential session.
You know,
Any other confidential session?
In public.
Right, this item 1212, is this a different issue to item 4?
No, it's the same thing, but it was on both agendas.
Are we scrubbing 1212 then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same, it's
Yeah.
the same thing, it's just
So we're
carried
scrubbing
on
it?
the last agenda, yeah. Okay, if we're happy for items of which the press and public should be excluded, we are on item 4, to discuss whether a decision at the meeting of the 21st of March was lawful. So we've received some, just before we start the discussion, can we try to keep the discussion as brief as possible? Hopefully you've all seen the emails from the clerk with legal advice there. So is there anything that you want to say there, Anna? We just like the clerk to present the point.
Just quick bit of comment.
Yeah.
May I just ask, that we do it in the same way we did the budget, where we take it in turns to speak, especially on the subject matter?
That might be an efficient way of doing it. We'll have a couple of minutes of sort of free questions. If it proves that it's going to be a long debate, then we'll probably take it in turn, if that's all right with everyone.
Can I just open the discussion, please, Chair? By saying that at the last meeting, everybody agreed that they would accept what the clerk said as long as you had it in writing from YCA. That's right. You did, and Mr. and Councillor Thornton did. Everybody said they wanted it in writing, and there's your answer. So if you carefully read that, you'll find out that what the contentious point was. Straightforward, isn't it? It's got to be removed from the records.
Can I just get Anna to make a point here and carry on?
Yeah, this is the point outlined in the email dated the 22nd of April, and basically what that means is that if it goes on an agenda item specifically to consider the renewal of lease, then it could be decided upon, but it wasn't. I've looked at the agenda on the 21st of March, and it was to receive an update. So to make a decision to renew the lease wasn't a lawful decision. That was the advice that was confirmed in writing.
Should we not just put it to bed then and go with that?
Because I haven't finished
If you
arguing.
want to add it to a future agenda, then it should be considered to discuss renewal of lease or consider renewal of lease. It should be specifically on about the renewal.
Up to Stuart.
Right. First of all, it's been suggested that a decision at a council meeting was made and it was unlawful. The person and persons who were making that accusation that it was unlawful, first of all, wasn't even at the meeting.
Irrelevant.
Don't interrupt me, please.
Irrelevant.
Don't interrupt me.
Irrelevant comments.
Can we take points of the discussion without personal attacks?
So the two people who were making the accusation could only have got the information second hand. So now we're on to an argument. If an item is unlawful, that means that issue has to be against the law. The two councillors who were involved in this have never, ever put forward which law we are supposed to have broken. That's how it becomes unlawful. Nowhere in the 1972 Act, which was quoted at a previous meeting, does it make any reference to the wording in an agenda item. On an agenda, the first words, to update, to consider, to discuss, to approve, to do anything, is an introductory word, and then that introduces you to the substantive item under discussion, which in this case was the Crowgate lease.
No, I don't.
Don't interrupt me.
What are you talking, Mr. Rattle?
Chair, I'm asking you to
Come on, John, let's get I want to hear.
Carry on, Stuart.
So when we have issues on the agenda to update, to consider, etc., that's an introduction, and we are allowed to make resolutions under the substantive issue being discussed, and on that particular night, the substantive issue being discussed was the Crowgate lease. Can I just go on to the evidence that's been put in front of us? The email that was given to me says, the specified agenda item provides the legal basis of every decision of the council to pursue a particular course of action. That's true. If the council pursues a course of action which is not specified as an item of business to be transacted at the meeting to which the agenda refers, the council is deemed to have acted ultra-virus. Right. What that says there is, if we act unlawfully and we act out beyond our control, that's unlawful. We did not act unlawfully because no councillor has put an argument forward which says which law was broken. Can I also finally just sum up? I've also been on the YALC, the Yorkshire Local Council's advisory topic note number 7. So this is the second piece of advice we have from YALC, and it's contents of agenda, paragraph 2, and it says, and I quote, "It is sensible for the clerk to start each agenda item with an action, for example, to consider, to receive, to recommend, followed by details of the business." This is what is meant by being specific in an agenda item. It says, and I'll repeat again, it is sensible. It doesn't say it's the law, it doesn't say it's recommended, it doesn't say it's truthful that you have to do it. My argument is it was a perfectly legal proposal, it was seconded and it was voted on by the majority of the people at that meeting, and therefore, if the council decides tonight to go against it, I will ask the clerk to seek proper legal advice.
Chair, can I just ask the clerk, please? Have you got a copy of the agenda there of that particular? Can you read out what the item was on the agenda?
To receive an update.
It wasn't to receive an update. It was item 19 for to receive update on Crowgate lease and consider tree survey request section 15th of February 26th.
No,
that mentions lease store, does it?
But that's the same heading.
No, the tree survey was a different item.
Well,
We
no,
agreed
it's
that before.
here. It's to receive update on Crowgate lease and consider tree survey.
Can we take Darren and then John?
Just on from a common sense point of view, Stuart, and I'm directing it to Stuart, what it does actually say there to receive. If that had been rolled reversed and the decision had gone the other way and you hadn't been at the meeting and we'd have voted to keep the lease at Crowgate, how would you have felt regarding that? And also, are you actually, thanks for hearing me out, are you actually saying that what, with the advice we've had here, you totally disagree with also?
Well, first of all,
thank you.
I'll answer the first question honestly. If I wasn't at a meeting and it went against it, this is an honest answer, I would have accepted it because A, I wasn't at the meeting, because therefore I have no influence, and B, a majority decision by the council has to be upheld. And I'll give a reference to that is, at the meeting we had, one of the finance meetings, where the two councillors introduced a motion to accept the budget, which they didn't attend. We, in opposition, lost that vote, and we accepted it in good favour. And what I'm saying is, we had a legal vote, we had a legal majority, and I think what they're doing is absolutely appalling. Sorry, what was your second question? It was part was that obviously we're trying to be good councillors, and we go on recommendations that we have. It's good practice to go on recommendations from people such as these. Are we basically saying if it doesn't, the cap doesn't fit for us at the time, that we're going to disagree with everything that they say? No, I'm saying the advice we've been given, in my experience as a councillor, which is great, I'm saying the advice this email we've been given, if you go back and read it, it doesn't say anything that relates to the issue we're discussing. All it says is if the council has an item on the agenda and you discuss an item, that's legal. If there's no item on the agenda and you discuss it, that's illegal. That's all this email is saying.
Okay, Jonathan.
First question to ask is the actual update on the agenda. Who was updating?
Clive, and he wasn't here. That's why I didn't.
So we didn't get an update. So that agenda item then could not go ahead.
We decided that we would discuss. We would discuss it because we did have some material from Michael at the time. He had got a copy of the lease document for us to see. So we did receive an update on the situation. Then a proposal was put. Michael was clerk at the time, and I questioned with him whether it was okay to make a proposal under that agenda heading, and he said in his... Can I just make a point of that? My worry...
Sorry, John, can you let...
Sorry, John.
And as well, Standard Rule 16 does state, and support advice from Wales, from Yale, that no motion can be carried or moved on a meeting unless it's stated in the business of the council itself. And the last part here, if the council pursues a course of action which is not specified as an item of business, which the lease wasn't specified, to be transacted at the meeting to which the agenda refers, the council is deemed to have acted with the bylaws, which we know. But then the last part, which is the most pertinent part, if you do act with bylaws, then the council's actions can therefore be subject to legal challenge in a court of law. So do we want to risk somebody taking us to court over what is quite a small thing that we can discuss again in another meeting? We can discuss it.
Yeah, put it on the agenda again.
And then it's fair done democratically. And it's open and honest.
Just two minutes.
Can I just
explain?
Could I go to Philip? If Philip, were you wanting to?
I was.
You were, but you're not going to now.
No,
Stuart,
let me just have I was at the meeting, I voted against the motion, but looking at this is an ongoing matter for consideration to receive an update, even though the update was nothing to report. But by entering into that, we open the door to further discuss the matter. It's mentioned there, the Crowgate lease is mentioned in an agenda item. And much as I hate to admit it, I think it's lawful.
We seem to be altering by LCA's advice then.
Yeah. First thing, the item was on the agenda. Because it did say to receive an update on the Crowgate lease. The item was on the agenda. So all this issue of it wasn't on the agenda, it was. Secondly, let me just point this out to you. The issue that's an argument here, there's two issues. One issue is, if you are saying we cannot pass resolutions because the item says to update, that means tonight you are not going to be able to make any decisions on this council with the exception of one decision, I think, is to approve. If you're saying we cannot make resolutions on the issue of to consider, to discuss, etc., we cannot do no business tonight or pass resolutions. And the second point, and I'd like this point answering tonight, please. What is the law that you are stating that we acted against? I.e., what are we doing that's unlawful?
What are you asking me? Who is that?
I'm asking myself, John, or John.
Oh, sorry.
What is the law that you are stating we are going against?
In breach of.
can I check Christine?
Standing orders.
Standing orders is not the law. Sorry, Christine.
The law of this council.
The law of this council, which we all agreed to do it.
Christine.
I just wanted to point out, Jonathan said the lease wasn't on the agenda. It said update on Crowgate lease. It was on the agenda. There was.
I just correct you. The update on the lease on the agenda, not to decide whether you
Christine, can we finish, Christine? We've got Christine, we've got John, and we've got Clive and Colin. Christine.
We're just going over the same ground. We voted, the vote was carried.
And the vote was illegal.
There was nothing illegal. You haven't voted. What was illegal?
Chair, I can assure you.
Can we listen to John? Christine?
Can I just explain something? My motives in bringing this is nothing at all to do with whether it's on the... My fear is that piece of land, if you give it back to the Borough Council, it means the Borough Council can get rid of it and build houses on it, because it's already adjoining a building site. Look, Stuart, you and Christine and a lot more were very, very vociferous about this. We must do everything to protect the Greenbelt. Everything to... You shouted at us from there.
Council
protect the Greenbelt.
Point of order.
You did. Well, what? It will if we've got a lease on it.
John. Point of order.
The point of order is we're having a discussion. The discussion is founded on whether this decision is lawful.
What's your point of order?
Just stop interrupting me.
Right.
Every time I stand to speak, I'm standing first, so I speak first.
Well, you're in breach of point of standing order, I'm not stating what standing order.
It's your father that made that rule up many years ago. Yes. Right? There's no rule in standing orders that states you have to do the standing order. Right. The discussion we're having is whether this issue is lawful or not. To start introducing why he wants to keep Crowgate is entirely irrelevant to the discussion we're having, and therefore it shouldn't be coming forward.
Is this going to lead to a vote ultimately? Will this lead to a vote ultimately on what we...
We can't vote tonight, because if the argument is we can't move resolutions on
That's not the
receive an
argument.
update, we can't make a resolution tonight on the issue to consider.
That's not it.
It's a hot topic that people have got personal opinions on, and we're not going to get any... We're just going to keep passing this round table all night.
I've got 3 more people down
Sorry,
to
my
speak. Can we
apologies.
hear them?
Yeah.
And then we'll
Do what?
give you a quick update, because we do have some information on the 1972 Act. So, Jonathan, you had a point of order.
I'll get it in because I need to state what point of order is to...
Okay, in that case, Clive.
Yeah, as you're aware, I was at any of these meetings, of course, and I didn't attend, so I have been trying to resolve this with the Borough Council for the best of my ability and to the benefit of the parish council and the village. I'm just disturbed that we paid membership to YLCA. We've got to them for legal advice, and yet we're not willing to accept it. So, I'm in this puts us in the position of the parish council. We joined a body that represents all the other parish councils, yet whatever they say to us, we appear that for some reason we don't like it, we don't accept it. I mean, we've gone there in good faith. The question was raised, we didn't like it, we've gone there, we've got the advice, and that's the answer in front of it. As I say, I wasn't at any of those meetings, but why have we got a problem discussing it again? And I don't know. I mean, it's up to people, but it seems to be done in a bit of a rush from what I can gather to get the thing out of the way. I mean, just to update you, I've had an email from a cabinet member of Rotherham wanting to speak to me about this in the near future, about whether it can be changed from a leasehold to a freehold. But I don't know what that involves. I've not had a chance to meet it yet, due to...
Why are you discussing this issue?
Stuart, can we hear Clive?
I'm just going to be people as to that there's still some, I don't know what offers on the table from the Borough Council, but as I say, that's not relevant to this discussion. It's whether that decision was taken lawfully or unlawfully. As I say, having not been there, I can't comment. It's just that I say we've gone for advice, but we're not willing to accept what it tells us. It appears to me. So where do we go from?
Can I make a point?
No.
Can we just...
The reason I'm saying
No, it's in order, please.
Can we hear the people in order?
from the argument.
Colin.
Right, I want to get this wrapped up as quickly as everyone else. As we finished that private meeting, as we came out into the public, I distinctly heard Councillor John Ireland say, I withdraw the motion. Now, my understanding is, if you withdraw the motion, or withdraw the objection...
What are you talking about? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
As we came out of that room...
It wasn't me, Colin. I wasn't at the meeting.
Was that limited? So I can't remember.
I was at the meeting.
The last meeting private in there, you were. When we received advice from the clerk, you were.
Oh, I was there, yes.
Right. As we came out of the room into the public hall, I heard you say, or my recollection is I heard you say, I'll withdraw the motion.
Yes, correct.
Hang on.
Go on.
Therefore, my understanding is, if you withdraw the motion, the substantive motion stands. Now, I could be wrong, but I can't understand why, if you withdraw the motion, why we're going round in a circle.
Because Christine and Stuart said, we will accept the decision if it comes in writing from Welk. That's what he said at the night. I said, okay, we'll wait till we get the answer.
Let's carry on, because can I just make a point? I, in the past, have been in front of the Standards Committee for releasing allegedly releasing confidential information. Councillor Ireland has just spoke about what went on at the confidential meeting. Therefore, Councillor Ireland is releasing confidential information in public. So I think now action should be taken against him, seeing as Councillor Ireland was quite happy to put me in front of the Standards Board and make comments on that issue.
Can I suggest that we report him to the Standards Committee?
Well, I may well do, because he's getting away with murder on this one.
Report him and let us decide. Don't have flipping committee meetings. Let the Standards Committee decide. Report him quickly.
Paul, you haven't said anything yet.
The thing I just want to raise, going back to it, is the point is, it was on the agenda, number one, so it was discussed. We then decided to take it into private session and made a decision based on the information given at that time. So I would like to know, because personally how I voted on it, is if it is unlawful, what part of the law did I break? In answer to...
No, you just worked against the things that you've signed to agree to. You've signed.
Say that.
You've signed to say that you accept standing orders, and it's just a breach of standing orders. End of story. Standing orders, which says that it's got to be specified on. In fact, it says tonight.
It's okay. So that being the case, so how is that now resolved then?
You have to...
How would you resolve it?
Yeah, right, how would you?
That's
Next
the question.
month, and you put it on the agenda. And have it discussed properly. If it's discussed properly.
Okay, then, I think that we've got to, Paul, if you don't mind, I think we've got to the...
Sorry, Chair, we need to make the point.
I'd like to...
Councillor Ireland is doing what he always does, he gives misinformation out.
I'd like to end that bit of the discussion now, Stuart, if that's all right. We will get the opportunity for it, yeah. The point that you made is that standing orders are not the law. Philip, you're next. Do you mind if I just make a point of clarification on the law?
Final question.
Okay. So, the clerk and I discussed the 1972 Act before the meeting today. So, the 1972 Act itself contains a sentence, the wording around agendas is that an item should be specified as an item of business. The Act itself doesn't go any further to say how it should be specified as an act of business. I'm not legally qualified, but Anna is. And in Anna's opinion, as a clerk who is legally qualified, is that if it's not specified in the Act, then a court would seek to look at the intention or the spirit behind the legislation, and we believe that it would be a case of what was intended by the Act. Well, the intention of that wording in the Act is that the council or councillors need to know what's going to be discussed, and that there is clear distinction between to receive an update, which is to receive information, and to consider or to approve or to discuss, that there is some clear difference. Now, it would rely on it actually getting to that stage. We're not saying that the council has broken the law, we're just saying that it's acted beyond its powers because it doesn't have a statutory power to make decisions beyond the Act. So that's the legal advice. That's the advice that we have. There are two potential outcomes as far as I can see it, is that we either take further legal advice, now whether we ask the clerk to do that or whether we ask to take independent legal advice, or we put it on the agenda for further discussion. And I think that's the only way that we're going to get out of this. So we'll take Philip, and then we'll go around the table for very, very quick summing up, but I'm conscious that this has taken some time. So Philip.
Just one simple question. In seeking this advice from YALP, did we show them the agenda item?
Yes,
They know what the agenda item was?
yes. I specified what the issue was.
If I may say, if we take this to its ultimate conclusion, we can go back to several minutes here where the agenda was to receive items and resolutions had been passed regardless, so it wouldn't be the first time.
That's correct, it wouldn't be the first time.
There are other cases involved.
Well, maybe we needed clarity then.
Yeah, there is something of a tradition of the council making making resolutions under those items, but the case has sort of been made, if you like, that we've taken that legal advice, and that's not how we should be doing it. Do you mind if because we can just have, I think we've discussed this enough, and I think we just need to have very quick summing up, and then we'll proceed to a vote. Stuart?
Couple of points. First point, with all due respect, if you and the clerk have had a discussion, that's an opinion, it's not a ruling. The clerk has no, again, with due respect, the clerk has no authority to make any rulings. Say that, we should listen to sound advice. The second thing is, this has got big ramifications, and I'm going to, can I suggest two things? One thing is that if we go back to Yelp on this issue, that I be allowed to write a full document why I believe the decision was right, and that I ask that Councillor Ireland, whichever one wants to do it, they also put their case against it, because I don't believe this information has been transmitted in depth to make a decision, a considered decision.
It's not what it's for.
And finally, can you all talk over me please? And finally, if you go against the decision that was made, that means that every single item in the last year that we made a resolution on, and it didn't say to approve, that means every single item we discussed and passed a resolution is therefore, in your argument, illegal. It has very serious ramifications what we're attempting to do.
Might have, Chair, I never contacted Yelp at all. I only acted through Clark. I never contacted Yelp. I never contacted them at all.
Can we, I don't want to enter
Stuart,
into any more debate. Can we go around? Philip? Philip? Anything that you want to add?
No.
Okay, Darren?
Not now.
Okay, John? Miles?
So, yeah, it's quite clear really that we've gone against standard rules, because whether something says consider, that's not the issue. The issue is the actual item itself. Whether it says consider, approve, discuss, we could still make some sort of decision afterwards. It takes a lot of it. It takes a lot of the other items to consider, I don't know, the time goal library. Do you just go, oh, let's consider it, next item. No, you make a decision afterwards. But to receive is clearly different. You can't misunderstand the word receive. Receive is to receive something. Consider, and it's different. It's plain English, it's quite simple to understand. So I'd make a proposal that we accept the information from them and then abide by their abide by their advice.
He's proposing a resolution. Understand on the point. He's gone. Can I have the members of the public not to interrupt?
Yeah, can you not interrupt? It just makes matters worse.
What Councillor Ireland is attempting to do is to introduce a proposal onto the table.
Well, that's the whole point.
Let me just finish, please. The argument we're doing. Let me finish, please. I can't sit there and accept your comments. The premise of this argument is, if we say we are to receive an update, the implication is we cannot make a resolution. So my argument now is, if we say to consider the issue under discussion, we cannot make a resolution. So, in my opinion, he can't introduce a resolution into this item because the word is not correct.
Well, have we not considered it?
Christine? Do you have anything that you want to add?
Not making resolutions.
Gentlemen, can we take Christine?
Never.
We're not. Received advice from Yelp sometimes over the phone, and it's been ambiguous. So I certainly cannot see the problem. We discussed the lease, we voted on the lease.
The whole point, it wasn't on the agenda to discuss, agreeing the leave.
Bring it to the camera, Jonathan, not...
Can I make a proposal? I can't.
Yeah.
Could you wrap this up, Ken? I think it's going out of hand. Please. Could you wrap it up? It's getting out of hand.
I came into this problem probably sort of a third of the way through, so I don't have the historical background with it, but it seems to me that we're setting a dangerous precedent here by changing the concept under which we made decisions, and as has been suggested, that this opens a floodgate to a whole raft of previous decisions going back to God knows when. We're in uncharted territory there, and I think that we should perhaps seek more in-depth legal advice on that.
Thanks. Can you straighten that camera, John? Because you noticed something.
Anything you want to add?
No, just want to get it resolved and sorted. Been in nice.
Can I make a proposal? Can I make a proposal? I propose...
I'm standing on a point of order. Sorry, Colin, but I've just said again, the gist of the argument is, if the council is saying, I can't make a proposal because the wording says to update, then I'm saying that if this issue we're discussing now is to consider, and then putting the argument forward is, you can't make a proposal.
The legal advice that we've received says that you can make a proposal and...
So my proposal stands then?
Not to receive.
So my proposal, and the thing we did, stands. You cannot, if you're saying, I'm sorry to interrupt, but if you're saying that to receive an update does not allow you to make a resolution on the substantive issue that's under discussion, I'm now saying, if you say we're under to consider whether a decision, therefore I'm also now saying is you cannot make any resolution because the issue is to consider, not to approve. Can I
and I don't want to be pedantic, but the agenda item says to consider when a decision at the meeting, blah, 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 was up. Now, from where I sit, we've discussed it, we've kicked it round, and it's ground to a halt. Now, I take your point. However, what I would like to do is propose that this matter is brought to the next available meeting with a specific wording to discuss the Crowgate lease.
That's a proposal, so Chair, I'd like to reply to that. And my argument stands, if somebody seconds your proposal and it goes to the vote, I will challenge that for being unlawful under the same argument of what's being discussed now. We're never going to resolve it. We're never going to resolve it because there's two people on this council who I believe are acting against the best interests of this council. That's why I'm having this discussion. Don't interrupt when I'm speaking, please. I don't interrupt you. So, and the reason we're going around in circles is because they've not thought it through. And I go back to the point, if we are not allowed to make proposals on the wording to update, my argument is we cannot make proposals on the issue of to consider. I'm sorry, but that's what I'm going to keep arguing.
Can we get from clients, is there anything you want to add, or are you happy that we've discussed it?
No, not really. I mean, just keep looking through that word, and we considering whether the decision was lawful or not. What, at the end of that consideration, you have to have an idea, yes or no, to me. If you considered it, you considered, you consider it lawful or not. You have to come to an answer.
How do we decide whether it's lawful or not?
Well, what do you
do we vote?
Well, you go on that, well.
You can't vote.
I can't find out what is the other
vote. So how can you use the same item but to allow one vote and not another vote?
Well, we've gone for this advice. What do we do? We chip in the bit.
I think the advice is wrong. I'm going to challenge it.
Well, I know you think it's wrong, but a lot of people might consider it too right. So when you look at it,
hypothetically speaking, if 10 think it's right and 4 think it's wrong, where do we go with this? Are you saying, Stuart, that we shouldn't be allowed a vote on it to decide whether we agree with the letter or not?
My argument's this.
No, I just... yes or no?
As clear as possible. My argument's this. The reason why this decision has not, well, the reason we're discussing this decision is because two councillors have said that if an agenda item says to update the issue of the probate lease, they are implying that the words to update does not allow you to make a proposal on a substantive motion. So my argument now is, if you turn around and say that we are discussing to consider, my argument is that also prevents you from making decisions. You can't have it both ways. You cannot change the rules whenever you feel like it.
No, you're twisting words. Receive is receive, receive is received, receive is received. Do you want to receive this pen from me, or don't you? No. Receive. That's what it says, and that's not allowed. It's not for my own end. My end is one best for
John, the Cambridge English Dictionary, they will all agree that quite an authority on the English language, and they know what we're talking about. Yeah?
No.
No? Well, that's interesting. Right, the consider the meaning, according to the Cambridge English Dictionary, which is an authority on English, says to spend time thinking about a possibility or making a decision, and that is from the dictionary. So really, if you say that wrong, then you think that you make a mockery of the English language. So that is from the dictionary meaning. So it does state in there that you can make a decision under the word consider.
We need to draw a line.
The protocol still stands.
I was going to leave it, but I would like to just say one thing, and this is it. The reason we're having these discussions and arguments with each other is quite simple. There are certain members, and I wasn't here for the vote, there are people here who think that the vote was taken when they had the best chance to revoke the lease on please, why? I thought you said you let everybody speak.
I'm still right. What you're doing again is, you're now introducing your personal thoughts of what happened at that meeting, that you wasn't there. So the item under discussion is to discuss where it's lawful. So what you're saying is inadmissible. You cannot have a discussion on something that you weren't even there.
Exactly.
But if you want,
and that's why we're having these arguments, because we weren't there.
If you want to explain what happened that night, I'm quite happy to do so in public.
Stuart, I've been following you for 12 months when you say to update, to receive, and going along with it, and we all have.
This is to make an explanation, right? I'm still on point of order, I'm trying to find this through. Every time I stand on a point of order, I'm being continually heckled by Councillor Jonathan Ireland.
Point of order is?
No, it should go better.
You make him a ball long.
And I'm being harassed by
When somebody stands on a point of order, please let them speak, don't say anything.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to be... Why didn't the chair ask for a point of order?
What?
Why didn't the chair ask him for this point of order?
I don't actually have to ask him for a number. He's standing on a personal appointed explanation. One of the standing orders does actually permit somebody to stand and give a...
If it's to clarify a previous statement.
Yeah.
It actually says...
My apologies for trying to give a commonsensical answer to it all.
The thing is, people are trying to play by the rules.
No, I've apologised. I've said my apologies for trying to give a commonsensical answer to it. That's
one of the reasons
reason.
we're having arguments around this table is because councillors are not sticking to the rules, and that's the problem.
We don't approach these at the end of the
Correct.
discussion.
Can we consider taking a vote on this to get rid of it? You can't vote on it, I keep telling you. We can't. You've got to listen to me, Colin. I'm going to challenge you if you make us do it.
The advice that we've received, the legal advice that we have received, and in the opinion of the clerk, is that it was simply the fact that it was to receive an update that's causing problems. If it needs to go back on agenda, it needs to go back to the renewal of the lease. So the only way that we can move forward is either to bring this back to the agenda or to seek further legal advice.
Chair, Colin's already proposed that, and I second it.
So we do have,
We don't have a proposal, it says I'm going to challenge it legally.
from the discussion that we just had, and not re-entering the discussion that we just had, Stuart, you said you wanted to make this proposal, Colin, you said you wanted to make this proposal. Stuart?
I don't want to make a proposal, I'm going back to my argument. On the premise of the original argument of why this issue is unlawful, you cannot make a proposal and it cannot be seconded and you cannot vote on it tonight.
And that's your view?
You can't tell me that, you can't have rules for one, and you would not have rules
It is
for
actually
one.
asking us, the clerk's just pointed
To
out,
consider, not to
if I might
agree.
interrupt, just to say that the councillor, the clerk has just pointed out, so it's to consider whether a decision at the meeting was lawful. So whether the decision at the meeting is the whether that implies that we have to decide yes or no whether the decision was lawful. So in the clerk's opinion, that agenda item probably constitutes under the legislative
It's asking a question.
It's asking a question.
In order that we can move on, if a proposal is put and seconded and voted on, I'll sit and be quiet.
It is asking a question here.
I'm not saying I'm going to do anything else, but I will be quiet.
Colin, you have a proposal.
I'll make a proposal.
Can I just have another point of issue, Chair? Can you ask that members of the public, especially Mr Pearson, that every time I speak, can you ask him not to be making, shall we say, derogatory comments in the way he's laughing at me? I regard what he's doing as bullying, and he continues to bully councillors. I can ask that, if he doesn't persist in
Your Honour, it's check, we're just doing the House of Commons and House of Lords every day, my man, just shut down.
Can
I ask, Chair, that if he persists in making these outlandish comments and making derogatory remarks against individual councillors, can I ask that we invoke Rule 97 and ask the individual to leave?
Can I call you up, I can press out stage?
Sorry, there's no report, there's no right to reply. Can I just ask everyone to be polite and respectful to each other? Okay, we're not going to heckle each other. You're always simply going to have to ask people to leave. So did we have two proposals?
Now,
Is there any
proposal, which was to accept the decision that has been put forward. That accept that it was unlawful.
Comment, yours was.
My proposal is that this item be deferred to the next available council meeting with a specific wording to discuss the lease on Crowgate.
We'll take the first
Chair,
proposal.
have two proposals, got the proposal and amendment.
We do get the order.
You can't have two proposals, you've got to have a proposal and an amendment. So if there's a first proposal, we have to vote on that.
The agenda,
Unless it's an amendment.
yeah, the agenda item is to make a decision as to whether it was lawful, so we need to take that proposal first. Second, that was the minutes, can you restate your proposal, please?
Yeah, I propose that we take the advice and agree that the decision was unlawful.
So,
Accept that right from the LCA.
Does it say that the advice was unlawful?
No.
It just says whether, it doesn't say that.
You don't say that at all.
It says whether or not the advice will be.
So that's what it's told anyway.
To accept the legal advice.
That's what the advice says on the top.
Yes, but
okay, so we've got to accept the advice from YRCA that the decision made on the 21st of March was unlawful. Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Good. Do we have a second? Is that second or? Last.
Can I have a recorded vote, please, Chair?
Have you got that? Have you got that? That's actually the letter from them rather than...
Yeah, I've got that.
And you put it on the agenda.
So I'll read out the names of the councillors, if you can tell me how you're going to vote.
So,
The proposal is to accept the legal advice from YLCA that the decision made on the 21st 21st of March 2016 was unlawful. Councillor Bentley.
So, sorry, just, 4 is effectively saying that if you're voting for, then that's effectively saying that we're accepting the advice and that saying that the decision was unlawful. Yeah.
Councillor Bentley.
Against.
Councillor Coleman is not present. Councillor Ireland Senior.
For.
Councillor Ireland Junior.
For.
Councillor Jarvis. Sorry, we haven't got Councillor Jarvis anymore. Councillor Jackson. Councillor Manship.
For.
Councillor Matthews.
Against.
Councillor Sadler. Against. Councillor Smith.
For.
Councillor Tarney.
For.
Councillor Thorne.
Against.
Councillor Thornton.
Yes.
Councillor Vernon.
Against.
And that's
7.
6 against. 6 for. You haven't cast a vote.
Has to be in favour of the status quo, doesn't it?
Have you got a casting vote?
I will cast the vote on that.
No, I mean, is it an equal vote?
It's an equality of votes.
And then you get the casting vote?
Yes. So, because it could potentially open the council to legal challenge, then I feel that I've got to vote for. We can bring it back to another agenda.
I mean, I accept what you're saying.
We are potentially open to legal challenge if we don't do this. So.
That's my back.
Can I just ask you, Trevor? As I've read through that, it says there, association by virtue of local government, it says every decision made, members present and voted. So there were members present, we voted. There were a meeting, we did it. We followed what it says, we did it. It just says specific agenda items on a legal basis. So we did do it, and it says pursued a course of decision. We weren't beyond our power, so we made a decision based on what it was. So we haven't acted beyond our power, so why is it unlawful?
The renewal has to be worded actually on the agenda.
So it's just on a word that's wrong?
Right.
So that's why it's a toilet?
Specific that we should have put on the...
But it can be put on the agenda now.
It's on the
And
agenda
it's
again.
open to legal challenge. That's okay.
We're open all the way now, because we're not...
Question 5. Item 5. We're moving on.
Not so right.
So we've taken the first proposal.
Yeah, we move on.
We have, so relating to this, that means that we actually need to bring it back, don't we? We need to bring this back to
Council meeting.
the next.
So it's got to go back on the agenda, hasn't it?
Correct, to correct the error that the council made. So
Yeah.
Colin, your proposal was to bring it back to.
My proposal is to bring this back to the next available meeting with a specific wording to discuss...
Approve the lease, to approve or
To
otherwise.
consider the renewal.
To consider renewal, I beg your pardon.
They can put this side in
Whoa! Don't attack me. All right, don't attack me. I've made a proposal. Just take it easy.
I was agreeing with you.
I agree with you. We need to stay.
He was actually agreeing with you.
It doesn't matter, we're still speaking out of order now.
So we have, what's the precise wording, is to bring this back as to consider the renewal of the...
To consider renewal of Crowgate lease.
Okay, do we have a second?
Next available agenda.
Okay, seconder.
Shouldn't the first action be to rescind the motion of the House?
We've done we've done that by saying that it
You can't
was
introduce another issue now.
unlawful.
Good God, just get it back on the agenda.
It's because we're not working according to laws do it.
No, okay, to defer it to the next agenda. Do we need to vote for that? Or? No. Apparently, Colin, we don't actually need to vote on that. We can just add it to the next. We can add it to the agenda. So that's added to the agenda for the next meeting. So that concludes item 4. So on to item 5. Confirm the minutes of the meeting from the 20th of June. Anything on page 1? Anything on page 2?
Yeah, can I just come in, Chair?
Yep.
I can't see anywhere in this minutes. I was chairing that meeting, and that's the meeting that I suspended 5 minutes because the actions of a member of the public. and it's not recorded in the minutes. I'd like it to be recorded in the minutes, please.
Okay to do that.
Chair, just for clarification, can I ask a question? Have I missed something? Because item here says that Councillor Thornton's Vice Chairman. I thought he'd written to sack himself. Was that last meeting? Was that last meeting? He resigned, didn't he?
He was acting chairman at the time.
Yeah, last year. It could be 2 months ago, 3 months ago. It's all right. Okay.
So you resigned as vice chair, but you were elected as chair for that particular
I think
meeting.
because we haven't got the item in there, I think I need to make a proposal that the minutes are incorrect. And I propose that we insert into the minutes the matter of fact that the meeting was resolved, or so the meeting was adjourned. Suspended. Yeah. We need that inserted. So my proposal is that we insert that into the council minutes as a true record.
Do we need the time as well?
That is in the record.
I need to propose that.
So you propose that?
Proposing that item be inserted in the council minutes and approved in the council minutes.
Do you have a seconder for that, Darren? All those in favour? It is minuted in Anna's records as well, so it's there. Great. Any other points on the minutes? Okay. That's just my copy, but that's good.
Wonder if Wales have lost their access.
Sorry.
No, this is, I wonder if Wales have lost you.
So item 7, to receive the minutes of the staffing committee meeting held on the 26th of April. Can I have a proposer to receive, or is that a question? Or?
I'll just send it to you.
Are you proposing?
Yes, that we received.
You're proposing that? Anyone
I'm
second that,
seconding
Darren?
it,
All those in favour of receiving the minutes? Okay, so 8, to consider grants, there aren't any. 9, to consider planning, licensing matters, transport issues, and to receive reports. So we've got list 23, which is 38 Crogate, St James Church. Clive, you had a point by email, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Can I just raise a point on this? In particular, St James Church one, we've not, well, I think everybody only received that list 23 last week, which was some 4 weeks late, and the St James Church application had a 21-day public consultation notice on it, so by now it's actually finished. That doesn't stop us making comments or objections if we wish to. I don't know whether anybody's actually looked at the proposals for the church.
Absolutely.
I
have, I will be objecting to what's being proposed. I don't know what.
Can you tell us, Clive, what's been proposed?
If you want to extend the meeting room that's already there along the south side of the building, the south aisle, so it covers 2 or 3 of those windows from the southern aspect. And having had a look at today, and this is only my opinion, I stress, I think it looks absolutely awful. They've got to demonstrate a need for that community room, and having read through all the documents which they've considered, because it's very technical, because it's a church. It's subject to lots of different legislation. And I say my view is that I think it will spoil that southern elevation of the church. We go Heritage England and every other body, but I've seen their letter on file, and they're objecting to most of the things that are being proposed. They want an urgent meeting with the church authorities.
It could look a bit better if Borough Council cut the grass.
Well, yeah, there's less grass to cut out of the building.
They're keeping lions and tigers up there.
It's extending the community room alongside the church. It's not going out, it's going along.
Back.
It's going back. So it's
very
covering the south aisle windows apart from the wall, so you'll not actually see them. And and the church actually will lose all that lighting
Yeah.
on that side, which I think is the important part of the building, because churches roll out light at the air and what it looks like inside. So, I mean, those are my personal views, so I'm going to write and make pass on 2 comments. I
Yeah.
object to what we propose.
Agree, Clive.
It's down to the rest of the council members to speak on it. Stuart, if you want to.
Stuart, then Miles.
I've looked at the email with all the planning, and I did look at it quite in depth, so I didn't understand initially what they were proposing, so that's why I didn't take a deep interest, as it were. The only point I'm not going to object to it, and I think the reason being is probably, if you have to take what they say about their expanding congregation, you have to take that face value. So they are expanding, they do need more room, and the facilities they've got at the moment are not brilliant to start with. One thing I'm disappointed is that they're advocating knocking the Victorian porch down, which I personally think is wrong. It's a part of the history, although you can't always stand still. I know that English Heritage, I think it is, in their letter have made soundings they don't want that pulled down. I think the plan can incorporate that porch without having too much of a detrimental effect on the whole aesthetics. I did think
I'd like to support what Stuart's just proposed, Chair. Believe it or not. What he said anyway, because that church was first built in 1147, and if we're going to do something to it that's 1,000 years old, I mean, in America they wish they'd got things that were 1,000 years old. I think it's wrong, it should not be touched.
Miles.
I was going to ask Clive again. It interests me when I saw that. Ask him, do you think it'll ever actually get through? Because I thought it had all these people that's got to go in front.
I think the sort of procedure you've got to go through, I think it might not get through as it's been proposed. I mean, you have to scroll down, because I didn't see all the elevations. I went back to it again, and they were, I mean, they're quite detailed what you have to put on there, and also all the various applications that relate to the church and the diocese and everything else, and the regulations you have to go through for church buildings. I say, I know they built a community building to the side, which I don't think sits too badly, but I think what we ought to look at, and whether it's feasible, is to still go out further that way, although they've got a car park in the entrance drive. But I think if they obscure those windows down, the church is going to lose its look and everything else, and it will not be worth anything of historic value. That's only my personal opinion, but having studied as an architect, I think I'm qualified to take a view on that, and that's just what I think about it. I think it should be ruined by that.
Looking what some of those committees are already doing.
Well, I know the one that was on the documents, I think it was English Heritage, somebody, they wanted an urgent meeting with the church body to discuss it, because they weren't happy about most of the things that were proposed. My feeling is that I don't know what they intend to do with the church hall, because it sounds as though they're going to transfer all the community activities up to the church itself. So what happens to that? I don't know. In future they may decide to get rid of it, but it's going to be extremely costly.
Things might slow down, Clive, because the vicar's going.
Well, the vicar is leaving on
vicar's going to
September, so there will be a new vicar in place at the end of the year. So and also understand the Archbishop is leaving. That's my
The other thing you have to remember is that if you put a screw into a wall illegally, you can't take it out until you've got a thing to allow you to take it out.
So I think it's got a long way to run, but
a long way.
I think from the parish's point of view, whether we just express our concerns, or, we I think at the end of the day we'll be left with the conservation officer and the various other bodies, but I think from our point of view, I mean, it's up to members. I'll be right to make my comments separately, but
Sorry, I'll just do something else. Sorry.
Whether you want to...
I'll just make a couple of quick points. One thing, if I've read the paperwork correctly, one thing that surprised me, although the church is classed as a Grade 1 listed building, apparently being for some ecclesiastical reason we can get round the Grade 1 issue. I'll make this comment, is the church is alluded to being built in 1147, I think it was.
Yeah.
I've no doubt when they expanded it in the 13th century, there were people making comments. The 14th, the 15th, they just expanded a bit more. So, I mean, I understand what people are saying, and the reason I did study in depth was because, again, it's an ancient monument, and it should be considered. I think it will go through, because they've been in discussions since 2014, so, as I said, I'm not going to object. I can't see a planning reason to object.
Can we just accept this and move on, because none of it's a qualified?
No, there are people out there that are going to make that
Yes,
decision.
I know, the last extension,
yeah.
there was the biggest round in the village, we went through,
Yeah.
got built, everybody got used to it, the same was happening.
Is that a proposal that is not contentious, which means you're
Yes.
not going to make a comment?
Yes,
I'll second that.
if you want to, you will.
Already proposed.
No, I can't just go ahead and just say what I've done, they were my views, down to the
So we've got a proposal that it's not contentious. Anybody want to second that?
Council can get their own opinion.
Was that a question or was that a second?
No, I agree.
I'll second it, too, I guess.
Can we make a proposal that just says to consider?
Miles has just seconded it.
Sorry, I didn't...
No, sorry, Stuart, I just said it says to consider, and I thought we couldn't.
Well, again, this is a point I was making, and don't worry, because every time we make a resolution tonight that says to consider or whatever, I'm going to legally challenge it.
But that was your resolution, was it?
No, that was Christine's resolution.
Do you second it?
I second it, but Miles seconded it first. Are you saying it's wrong to make a resolution on this?
I don't know, to be honest. I was just being a bit pedantic then, I'm sorry. It was tongue-in-cheek.
So we have a proposal that's been seconded that it's not contentious. Anybody want to add anything else?
Well, in other words, you don't say anything.
So we're not saying anything.
Can you not make your, can councils make their own comments?
Councils can make their own comments.
Right, okay, so I'd like to.
All those in favour?
Of what?
That it's not contentious, so that we don't write to plan.
Yeah. Being that nobody goes to church,
Can we show of hands again?
Nobody goes to church, so it doesn't matter.
Is it 3 or 4?
It's growing, the congregation.
Is it? Yeah. Tell me about those 45 that left and went to Methodist because of Margaret Vicar.
Can you stick up your hands again, because it was since so did we have 4? 1, 2, 3, okay, yeah, that's right.
On your old, did you get more?
Okay. We had
Methodist collection.
number 8, Pennypiece Lane as well, Pennypiece Lane.
That's a separate application.
Oh, is it a separate application?
The house has been
Right.
before to build 2 properties on one lot. It's been resubmitted, I don't know what's changed. Well, I've had a chance to go and have a look, so again, I'll be making my own comments on it. I don't think you commented last time. Have you looked at it, John, because you live up there?
Yeah, no.
The only thing is access onto to Grosvenor.
Well, I mean, all this started when with the, what do you call it, the Mouth of Thunder, what's his name?
I don't know.
Lord, somebody's his name. He decided that you didn't need planning permission if you built on a property that has already got the house, didn't he? What did he call it? No.
This is now changed because
They've changed it back again now, but...
Well, they're making 2 plots out of one, they have to pay a substantial
Yeah.
amount to the council, I think, which
Yes.
didn't do last time. So
No, it was very done before.
So I think when this came into us before, we didn't make any,
What do you call it?
we left it to planners and neighbours, but again, it's parish council that have looked and decide.
Prescott, yeah. Mr.
Should we
Prescott.
leave it to RMBC?
Stuart, then Chris, and...
Sorry.
You say that?
You had your hand up.
Right, I wouldn't say that. Right, just a quick one on this. Right, is this the one where there was looking at before with the drive?
Yeah.
There was an issue with the drive?
I don't think we actually made an objection.
My personal view on this is, if it's been in front of the planners and they've rejected it, the planners are on top of it, as it were, so maybe just leave it to the planners.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Can I just make a suggestion? I did send an email out to everybody about planning this. Can I just ask you
neighbours and planners. Did you want to speak,
Yeah.
Mr Mayor, or not?
Can we just leave it to the planners?
Everybody happy to leave it to neighbours and planners? Oh, Wells? Yeah. Do we need to vote on that then? If we leave it to neighbours and planners? Right. Thank you. List 26, 8 Pennyfield Place.
This has been again, it's been turned down once or twice, and this is a revised application, smaller property, it's more like a split level world than a house, so it's a second application. I don't think you objected to this.
If I remember rightly, the plan on the wording is 8 Pennyfield Place, but if I've looked at the map correctly, it's land behind 8 Pennyfield. The land, the proposed building is off Quarry Lane.
It's land that belongs to 8 Pennyfield Lane, selling some off the hill or whatever, and then building on the other side of Quarry Lane. So it is a bit, it's not quite correct, and it's, it is, but it isn't. Again, the same, neighbours and planners all the time.
Leave that to neighbours and planners unless anybody has any objections to that? No.
None whatsoever.
There's nothing under item 10.
Can I just ask a question? I've not been to some of the other finance and charities. Have we had any burials for signing recently? Because I've not seen any.
No.
Michael is still dealing with this, but theoretically should pass that to Anna, might be, to be signed.
I sent them a big sense of about a month and a half. What about a month and a half? Over a month.
Because I wasn't before.
Was
that here?
You can't do the
We've got this on the council meeting agenda, and if they've been signed at finance meetings, then I think they should come to full council, not finance meetings.
I agree with you, there should be a full council.
Can we try and clarify that?
Okay.
You know, finance meetings really they should.
Traditionally, they've always been signed at a council.
Yeah.
It used to have a bit more, because we are signing a document for the very long, it has a bit more gravitas. Is that right?
Yeah, it's, I think it's traditionally come to full council, I don't see why it shouldn't be finance.
Is it Ross? If it's Michael, it is.
I don't know if that's just been instructed now, because if you take the finance meeting, then there's no point in being on the full council.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Item 11. So, Darren, did you say that you didn't have an update for us?
No update. On the information that I've passed across to yourselves. And I said I wouldn't discuss it because you wanted to put it in confidentiality, so I'm not. You're aware of the letter and the findings from the land registry.
Can I just come in there? I know we're going to discuss it. Have we had more information since we last discussed this?
No.
Because, can I just suggest that we need to be looking at this because it's a potential legal issue. Excuse me. So we need to be bringing this back to another meeting for a serious discussion.
Did you manage to get down there?
Yeah, I went down there. I went down there with a scale drawing plan from land register, and basically the position of the fence is actually more in our favour than it is in his. Having said that, there are issues with the fence, and also the fact that whilst he's fenced off his land, I'm led to believe because it's triple SI site that he should still have left access through the footpath that goes there and fenced either side of it.
Can I, sorry to interrupt there.
Yeah.
Can I suggest we don't say any more?
Yes, I totally agree with you.
I'm just thinking on the issues, it could be a potential legal issue.
Yeah.
And we're on open camera and film, and in effect, inadvertently, we might be giving a defence or an argument away. I don't mean to...
Can I propose then we fetch it back to the next available meeting and we put it under confidential?
Yep. We've got that. Councillor Sadler.
Right, item 2 and item 4 both together. I emailed Andrea, who's the dog warden. She passed it to Andy Bradley, who's the manager. He emailed me with a link to Google Dog Laws. As I said at the last meeting, that we talked about this. I've spoken to the chair of Public Council. They've had a sign up on their red ground for years, banning dogs with no problems legally. So, what do you want to know?
I would, again, there's no harm in putting up a sign. I know enforcement is hard, but generally people, generally people do what signs say. I know that you're going to get a few people who don't, but I don't see the harm in putting one up.
I have spoken to a few dog walkers generally, not just down here, that have said they think it's putting a sign up to ban dogs. And I've not had any adverse comments.
Yeah, again,
so I don't see what else we can do but put a sign up and see what happens.
It's been reinforced by parents again from the state park group, because people have been mid-air and a great big Weimaraner or something like that has run up to them while they're mid-air coming down.
Chair, can I just ask
Stuart and then Jonathan and then you, John. Is that all right?
Can I just make a suggestion? If we are of the mind at some stage to put a sign up, we need to be aware that, in effect, there's a permissive footpath around the back of the hall and down by the tennis courts, and there's a permissive footpath from sorts along from the bottom entrance. So I would suggest, if you're going to ban dogs, we may need to take into account that we don't include them particular paths in the
Well, if we put it on the perimeter, or more than one, on the perimeter, then that obviously excludes the fence.
I would suggest maybe a little map attached to the sign to say whether, to specify where they're actually excluded from. That would avoid any doubt.
There's a sign of no dogs on the recreation area.
I'm just saying we need probably possible. I'm not saying we're making that decision now. I'm saying we possibly need some form of small diagram on the sign to delineate where the banned area is if we make that decision.
You don't find that anywhere else in the country. There's no dogs, and that's what it means.
So if you, the point I'm trying to make is, if you put a sign up saying no dogs,
on the recreation area.
right, the foot, should we say that the permissive path along the bottom of the bottom entrance, now declare the person of interest now because I have a right of way across there. If a member of the public's walking on there, that land is actually part of the recreation ground.
Well, put the sign up inside of it.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm only making a suggestion. I'm not saying we're going to do it. I'm just saying make a suggestion that we maybe have to delineate the proper area where dogs are banned.
Okay, John.
Can I make a proposal on this, that we accept the updates?
Can I make a
Because it's an
proposal?
update.
Yep.
So,
Can I make a proposal? It's just to consider.
no, it's just to...
It's just to receive. Or to update.
Chair, can I ask, Christine, from my point of view, being a regular user here, I find it disturbing that the dogs play around where the children have swings and things. Now, could we not consider, like they've done at opposite the doctor's surgery, putting a small 3-foot high fence round the kiddies' play area?
Yes, we could do that, John, and we could look into the cost, but we still need them keeping off the field, because dog owners are letting the dogs foul on there. Kids play on there and they go around on
No, but
there. And I think, it is my opinion, that they should be kept off the whole area. But that's my opinion.
Right. But it's just my opinion is that the worst thing is for the little kiddies, 2 and 3 year olds crawling about it in wet dogs are, and you could do exactly the same as they've done at the doctor's surgery, after they put an open, the dogs can't get through, unless it's Chihuahua. They don't leave much mess anyway. And just put it round the area of the swings. No, well, I'm not about to do that. Kids, just keep them.
Yeah, a fence would be ideal, but I think it still needs to be kept on. The whole area. Can we talk about the fence now, or will it have to come back?
Can we? We've got a couple of other people wanting to talk about the dog fouling. So we've got Clive, we've got Darren, then we've got Colin, and then we've got a proposal on the table to receive it anyway. So Clive.
Can I just, at Tottenham, Christine, they've got a road footpath, haven't they, from the entrance to the recreation ground all the way up to the cricket club. So I presume that those signs that they put up include everything on there. But what I'm saying is they've not designated, they've not separated the road and footpath from the grassed area. They put no dogs on the recreation ground, full stop. So the same would apply here. Yeah, as I said, I know they've got a map that, well, that was from back to front, wasn't it? The road up at top, it was John on from Plain. Well, so what you're saying is it covers the entire area, including footpaths, road, etc. Yeah.
Great, Darren.
I must admit, I go up there regularly. I've never seen any dogs up there.
Well,
They take notice of the signs.
the question was... Should I bother?
Sorry.
The question was, but I'm going to have to add something else now, just so I've got this right. Are you talking about when you drive on this area here, no dogs allowed whatsoever?
No, in my mind, I'm thinking about not the car park, not the route through to the stone, not this path up here, but to put the signs on the perimeter of the grassy area.
So a guy can walk his dog down the path.
On a lead.
So you're going to have to put another sign up that dogs have got to be on leads as well.
Because if they can get down that path without the dog going on the grass, if it's not on the lead.
I'll get to my main point. So I see where you're coming from. You don't spend money, put these signs up, and what happens when somebody does let the dog on? Who's going to A, police it, and B, what are you going to do about it?
Well, I'm not. That isn't part of my plan, Darren. My plan is to start small. If we don't put the signs up, nothing's going to happen. If we do put the signs up...
Yeah, so you see a bit of a deterrent to start with. See how that plan pans out. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a chance, rather than doing
nothing.
In the face of so many complaints.
Yeah.
Colin.
Like the fence on.
What I'm going to do is make a proposal which will also cover item 4 with Christine's permission, that we look into the cost of a sign that says no dogs on the recreation area, or dogs banned from the recreation area, and we bring it back to the next council meeting and make a decision at that meeting whether or not we're going to ban dogs from the recreation area, particularly around the children's play area.
We also need to confirm how many signs we need, and how big.
We need
3.
Have we got to decide now on the wording?
No.
And how many signs?
No.
Or is it just going to come back?
It's going to come back. When we've got
Are we
the
going to
costings.
make a decision tonight that we're going to ban the dogs?
No, we're making the decision on whether to bring this, my proposal is to bring it back to another meeting when the clerk's got some costings. We only need 3 or 4 signs, and no dogs in the play area. Well, whatever.
You can't make
Sorry, Stuart.
One question. States on play areas, so we're presumably going to take into account Whitegates and Lockwood, because we've got 3 play areas. So are we just going to use the Lewis one, then everyone goes to their dogs to the other parts, or ban all dogs on all
No, my point is, John, that you ban dogs from children's play areas like they do in other councils.
Oh yeah, I agree totally, because I've got a son who uses them and it's not nice for them.
I mean, I'm not banning dogs, so I own a dog, but I walk him on a path.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you.
And I don't let him anywhere. I don't let him anywhere near the kids' play area. You know.
Should we make it a policy then?
Sorry, Stuart. Can I bring Stuart?
Didn't have the handle actually. I was just making a comment that Colin made a proposal, it wasn't second, but Colin made a proposal, but my point being is, both item 2 and item 4, with due respect to you, Christine, they say to update, based on the premise that we've just voted to say a proposal based on an update was unlawful, therefore we cannot make any decisions on these 2 items. Sorry, Mr. Moore.
Well, just bring it back to the next meeting, we'll make a
We're making a proposal, what I'm saying is you can't make a proposal.
Shall I just put it on the agenda?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we're all relying on email.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm losing the will.
I am.
Item 3.
Item 3, 2-part, obviously Springfield Terrace, Crowgate, can't even discuss Crowgate football team because it's absolutely pointless until we resolve police. I'm just put it to bed and take it off agenda.
Sorry to interrupt you. Would you be in favour of the football team, if they so wish, taking over Crowgate? Because I think we mentioned last time,
We did.
If the football team or teams, I don't know which one's over, if they were to approach Rotherham,
To take the lease on? They won't give them the lease.
I'm not saying it's right, wrong or whatever, I'm saying it's an option. And if they were able to do that, would you support that?
They wouldn't give it him. I'm totally in agreement with Stuart. They wouldn't give them the lease. They would not give a football team a lease of that length timescale. Just will not happen. So it's pointless discussing it. It's pointless talking to the football team. And I think we should just politely say, I'm sorry, it's not available at this moment in time. Because we're just bashing his head against the wall until we resolve Crowgate. So I'll move straight on to...
As it stands, we're back to a situation that we've always been in regarding Crowgate, in that we're occupying.
Yeah, it's about
Crowgate.
6 foot high now.
That's a lawful decision.
For another day, sir. I'll move swiftly on to Springfield Terrace. Last time we discussed this, we're still waiting for information from Forestry Commission, and I've not received a further email, which I said I would pass on to all members when I did.
Anything else?
No.
Can I just come in? Just to refresh my memory, we were talking about, was it the drainage ditch at the back?
We were indeed.
And there was problems that it wasn't working right, shall we say, it was full of stuff.
Correct.
If you can get hold of, shall we say, more evidence, if the people who live in that area wished to write to the council with their concerns.
Well, they have spoken to me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to represent them at our council.
Right.
If that's wrong, then...
What I'm trying to say is, if they were to write even to you with their concerns, if we have to say 4 or 5 letters, we could probably take it up as a council and write, although you wrote to the Forestry Commission, the council could be of the mind to write to the Forestry Commission as well on behalf of the residents.
Well, being presumptuous here, presume that's what we're going to do when we get the reply back from the Forestry Commission.
Right. I was under the impression that you've written to the Forestry Commission yourself.
No, I've met the Forestry Commission on site.
But you've met...
And they're doing further investigations, but as you rightly pointed out last time, and so did Clive, the Forestry Commission are giving up maintenance on that land. I believe it's next year, and both Clive and yourself said to me there could be further implications regarding this. You obviously know something that I don't know, but nobody came forth with any further information on it.
Well, the only implications would be that they've got to find somebody else to take the maintenance of those areas.
Yeah, I thought you said it had greater implications.
If Woodland is the same, they
Yes.
withdraw in that maintenance,
Yeah.
it's 10 years it's been running, something like that. And the same at Dinnington, Bitop.
Yeah.
So it's the question, if they withdraw from it, who takes it over? Does it fall to the Borough Council? Well, I haven't got their ambition to get it over, especially if you're inheriting a drainage problem, it might push you a lot
Exactly.
of money. So I don't know what other body will look at maintaining these in the future. That's the implication, that nobody knows what's going to happen if they withdraw from it.
Can I suggest it? the way I see it at the moment is, yes, you've taken this on yourself for the residents. You've met with a commission, Forest Commission. Can I suggest that was probably in an individual capacity, because the council didn't give you authority to meet from the council. So what I'm trying to say is, if we can get the issue to be a council issue, if you can get documents
I intend it to be a council issue.
and ask the council to take an action, then we could look at it, and you can write to the commissioner, meet them, etc. And also, any other individual councillor can, but we can also do it as a corporate body. And the thing that's just coming to my head at the moment, if they're withdrawing maintenance on a drainage ditch, which I presume was put there to catch the water coming off the tip side, by virtue of the drainage ditch there, I would suggest it goes into a water course somewhere, which then becomes under the powers of, who does the river, who's we talking about? Under the Environment Agency, because again, if that ditch does go into a water course, there's runoff coming off from a potential tip. If the drainage ditch gets full and there's water coming off that tip, you have a potential, and I'm not an engineer so I don't know, you have a potential for an issue like the Aberfan disaster, where the reason that hillside slid was because the water wasn't able to drain away, and the sheer amount of water on the tip fell over the school. So maybe it's something the council probably should look at, but I think the Environmental Agency is probably the next person you contact.
Well, let's wait to get let's get the answer back from the Forestry Commission, and then I will bring that to the council, and the council can then decide next course of action.
Thanks, Derek. Good idea. So item 4 we've done. Chris, are you happy that we've taken both of those together? Item 4's done?
Yes.
We just agreed.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Good. Item 12, I know we're just running a little bit short of time. Miles had a very quick update. We can't move any resolutions under it, but you had a quick update regarding bonfire.
Make you aware that I've given you all a pen and a quote from a new bonfire company for your consideration. I think this will be discussed at the next bonfire committee, but for the next meeting you will be given the other quote for your consideration as well to compare, and also to decide in the next meeting which one we should go ahead. Time is slowly closing down, and both we've chosen can't do bonfire nights this time, but there is alternatives on there with different prices as well. So this year you definitely won't win.
Can I just interrupt you, Miles? Can I suggest, we've only been given this tonight.
Yes, that's what I mean.
What I'm aware of is that to discussing potential contracts of substantial amounts of money, could I suggest that this either just be forwarded on to the bonfire committee, unless there's a time issue, where it'll be discussed. I would suggest it has to be discussed in confidential session at the bonfire committee, because it relates to a contract. The final decision will be made in public, but the discussion has to be confidential session.
Can I just ask, this is not for this year, is it?
Yes.
Well, my understanding is that, if I'm wrong, but have we not placed an order in Payne?
I thought Payne had already given us promise.
No, we haven't. We've got a quote from them.
We've had a quote.
We've had a quote, they can't do the pit.
No one can at the moment.
No, right. So it's not.
What, bonfire night?
The fact that I just wanted clarification, because I understood that I didn't know whether we placed an order at the time. We missed the pit. I didn't look at that meeting.
Yeah, sorry. The bonfire discussion, we asked, for the bonfire committee, we asked Miles if he would go and seek more information, which he has done. When it goes back to the next bonfire committee, we'll obviously have a discussion, because we've got two quotes. The bonfire committee will make a recommendation to council, and the final decision will be in
the next
council session.
So this is one of the quotes in front of you. In the next pack, in theory, you should receive the other quote for you to look at. Yes, it's in the evening this time.
No. Can I just ask why there's 20% discount?
Yeah.
The second figure is we've got 20% discount.
Because it's the bigger one.
Excuse me.
It is actually discounted from what it should be.
It is, yeah. Right. It's not 20%.
It's two different types.
It's 90.
Well, there's a discount as well. It's exactly this year, but there's a discount
Yeah.
also if it's not on bonfire night. There's actually two different...
Because they give two different dates, aren't they,
Yeah,
obviously? 'cause
and
they-
there's also two different types you can go for. Now, I've included in that pack the two different types and what they offer on the two different types.
Because obviously I would assume time is a precedent technically.
Yes, yes, but
Because
I have actually, well, we can preliminary reserve something beforehand.
can you tell me where they're based?
Nottingham, not Nottingham, Chesterfield.
Chesterfield. So they've been reasonably low, so I'm not asking any more than that.
So I think the main point there was just that when that comes back on the agenda,
Yeah, so
it needs
everyone,
to come.
you've got the quotes
earlier.
now for one of them, so just keep hold of that and bear in mind you'll get the quote in your pack for the next one to compare and see if it will be on the agenda in the next meeting.
It's fine.
Okay, thanks, Miles.
Can you, Clive, can I just ask you a question? How long have we had pains?
I think we swapped over.
We had another company before that, and they, I think at some point they either quoted far in excess of pains or they couldn't do it.
How many years have we
had them? 6, 7, 8 years, maybe longer than that, I don't know.
Just find that we've had them that long and yet we still can't get them on the bonfire night.
No, because I think they fully booked. We didn't get, if we'd have wanted to, it would have been too late, actually.
Too slow.
Yeah, that's right, we're too backward.
Okay, Philip.
We've never had a committee before,
So,
you see.
your protection order.
Oh, no, this is just a follow-on from Chris's, that we discussed before. It's, what it says, basically, for consideration, but as a last resort. It's pretty serious if we get to it, so we hope we never do. But it's there as a possibility if we need it.
Do you want to propose that we
Just shelve it and hold it.
okay.
Yeah.
but hold it in reserve if the signs
Absolutely, yeah.
don't work?
Yeah, well, I just actually consider it, so see if the signs work and then consider it as a policy.
Yeah. But all else failed.
Can I just ask you a question? Have you sent, I might have missed something, have you sent any information out on this as to what it involves? I'm not quite sure.
No.
No, it's just a protection of that sort of. Is that
The
something
public
that we,
spaces protection.
that's something that we would put in place, or?
I'm trying to find out from whether we can do it or a local authority is authorised to do it. Or we designate it as a local authority.
We've been speaking to her.
She's I've not, I sent her an email, that's all.
Yeah, there's another guy called Matt Finn that deals with issues like that as well, that does a presentation about parish councils and stuff, power and things like that. So if she,
The issue-
another option that.
The issue with Lockwood, I think it's the same sort of legislation as there making noises at us. It's the same type of issue. And I think it was, you read the legislation and they discuss it. And it actually mentions protection noises. I think it tells you which it is.
No, that's fine.
Okay, I think this would probably be a good time, unless there's anything to add to that. The next item is in confidential session, so this would probably be a good time to resolve to adjourn the meeting in order to allow the public to raise any issues regarding today's meeting. Can I just say before we adjourn the meeting for this bit of public participation that it has to be about today's meeting and only the contents of today's meeting, and 10 minutes maximum. And can I ask that only one person speaks at once, whether that's a member of the public raising an issue about today's meeting. The member of the public should be allowed to speak without being interrupted by a councillor or another member of the public. And likewise, when a councillor is replying, no other councillors to interrupt or other members of the public to interrupt. If any of that happens, then we'll go straight back into the council meeting. Okay? Questions? Yep.
I'd just like to ask a question. I mean, it's all about Dovertown, we're going to get a country more with good play areas and what we know. I'd like to ask when Anston Parish Council ruled that there were no dogs allowed in cemetery. Did any council make that decision?
Stuart?
The honest answer I'll give you is, I'm not sure, but I think it's always been the so that dogs are not allowed in the cemetery. There has been an issue just recently reported with a dog, and I'm not 100% sure, but it's actually being looked into. And in fact, at the last meeting, I think we made a decision to put a sign on.
No, you didn't, how are you?
I'm not saying they're wrong.
Can I answer that? Did any councillor here agree for that sign to go on Cemetery Gate?
I have no recollection of it happening.
Can I ask who authorised it to go on Cemetery?
I can't give you an answer because I don't know. Maybe the clerk can.
Probably the vicar, didn't it?
The council put the sign on cemetery. What? Has the sign been put? I know there was a sign being considered.
Yeah, but that's been signed for. I've been with that cemetery well over 20 years. My daughter's been in there 20 years. I've been with a lot longer than 20 years. So my relatives were during that cemetery. And I have never, ever seen a sign on the gate that states no dogs allowed. The thing that concerns me is that at some stage in your life you may be left on your own, only with one partner, which is that dog. And you're telling that person that they can't visit, whoever wants to visit in that cemetery, that dog. To me, that's totally wrong.
Can
I think you make a good point.
I'll tell you, the reason why, this is my understanding of the issue, the reason why the sign was put up there is because it was reported that somebody was visiting the cemetery and they took a dog in with them, and the dog was, for want of a more better word, was basically running riot around all the gravestones and everywhere. Now, I have seen a few years ago, and I can't tell you the date, I actually saw a small dog urinate on one of the gravestones. This was probably before I was a councillor, and I was in a quandary whether to say anything, because it's not right if dogs are urinating on gravestones. Again, from what I understand, there's going to be some form of latch outside the gate, which they will be able to tie the dogs to the lead, and hopefully the way it's going to be positioned is the people will be able, the tending graves, will be able to see the dog, so the dog hopefully gets to see the owner, so they're out of sight.
The question was, when did the council make that decision? You just told me some story that you agreed to, and asking when the old council...
I didn't say I've agreed to it, and I said the honest answer, I don't know what...
So you said that the agreed to the election, okay?
No, I'm just saying this is my understanding. I haven't said I've agreed to it. I haven't said I made the decision.
Yeah, to Kevin, how long, unless someone else can, how long has the sign been up? So it's been up, right, so it's just gone up, so I think it's fair to ask, excuse me, Christine, sorry, let me just finish, please. Kevin's asking the question, when we know the sign went up, who authorised it to go up, so should we not just answer his question and find out when it was authorised and who did it?
Just before you come in, how do we know the church didn't put it up?
Well, we need to find out.
Nothing to do with church, sorry.
Or a laminated sign, in which case anybody could have put it up.
They have the same sign as you've had on Bramble Drive. It states on it, Aston Parish Council, it's the same sign that you've had around on these
I thought we'd agreed that for this session that we'd let people speak. Well, we're not, are we?
No, it's Bob, he's asked us.
Yeah, so he's asked the question. I've made a proposal to the clerk and to the chairman that we give it's a simple question, just give him a simple answer. That's it.
Yeah, I just feel that you've been a bit unfair to the general public.
And then...
Quite responsible, not owners. You've been unfair totally to everyone owners. I totally agree with you on part and fair.
So we need to check whether dogs are actually banned onto the burial ground, the rules that we have for the burial ground, if that decision's been made at some point in the past.
Are you happy if we do that, Kevin?
And I'm not sure if anybody else here knows.
The last 20 years I've been banned, so never. Right. And I've been to as many council meetings, if not more than Mr. Thornton, and I have never...
We haven't been to more council meetings.
We're not, it's not a competition. excuse me, it's not a competition, it's a straightforward question, and this is after, answer the question, pass it back to the clerk, and give the answer, it's straightforward.
Especially if it's got our logo on it.
If it's got our logo on it, so we've done it, who's said it, and let's just get to the bottom of it, please. Are you happy with that, Kevin?
Are you happy with what Darren said?
Yeah.
So Anna's noted it down, Kevin, and she'll come back to council with an answer. Yeah, I think it was a balance, isn't it, between letting responsible dog owners in and then stopping the
That won't spoil it for everybody else, unfortunately,
Should
don't
it be
it?
left on in the meantime, though?
Sorry?
Should it be left on in the meantime? Should it be taken down?
If the church put it up, we can't do anything.
Until we know an
Nothing to do with
answer.
church, Colin.
Cemetery.
It's now cemetery.
That's what I mean.
If they stuck their nose into the church property, if they stick a metal plate and said, no, don't.
The church haven't put
Yeah, but
it's nothing to do with
Good
the
church.
Church, not about the
It's our
cemetery.
Southampton Cemetery, it's our cemetery.
I know.
Well, why are you saying about the church?
But what about if somebody at the church says, we don't want those, we're going to put a sign on?
Well,
You mean in their cemetery?
Yeah.
On the graveyard?
Yeah.
They can do it once.
They can do what they want.
Sorry, ladies and gents, can I just say, I'll take Miles, but then this is an opportunity for members of the public to ask questions, so are you replying to the public's
Should it be
question?
taken down in the meantime until we know the answer? Back?
Should it be taken down in the meantime?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, I'll go tomorrow.
Do we want to...
Yeah, because if we don't know the answer, it has to be left as it was.
If the sign's in place, I understand what you're saying, Miles, because just like, if the sign's in place, it's been done, we'll ask the clerk to check tomorrow, as soon as possible tomorrow. If it's not been done in a correct manner, then we'll take the sign down, bring it back to council for discussion if required. If it's all okay and in order, it prevents us just having to take the sign down and put it back up again. And I'm saying that,
That's what I mean.
but what I'm saying is, to save taking it down and then putting it back up again, if we get an answer, should we say tomorrow? If we're in the wrong, then we can take it down tomorrow. If not, sorry, I'm speaking. If we leave it tomorrow and get the answer first, we may not have to take it down. I can't see the point in taking it down. And if we're right,
Okay,
so
can
I'm
I stop discussion on this
Yes, please.
now? The clerk's going to investigate, and she'll
Can I ask her to
report back.
look? Can I ask her to look at the dog warden, if the dog warden had anything to do with it, because we did actually authorise them to come and advise us, did we not? Is the dog warden?
Yeah, and to check with the
It's dog warden. Well, certainly.
Great, next question.
Thanks.
Yeah, is it a serious chance to get this kids play area actually fenced off? That, to me, sounds like a good idea, because it's actually got two possible effects. One, you'll keep dogs out of play area watching in here. Two, we're having a car park, so go to the play area. That area is actually fenced off, you've got more chance. We all know what happens when people want to start, they get talking to each other, kids are roaming about here, there and everywhere. So it actually, we're at, from an health and safety point of view, would actually be a good idea, because we're also keep the dogs out, but also provide an actually good containment for children actually what's in, which has another benefit, because then it's easy for parents to keep their eye on them, they're not roaming up and down here, there and everywhere.
You've got to consider safety, sorry.
I think that's a good idea.
Let's put it on another agenda. Can we put it on an agenda?
But I'd just like somehow find it out by you willing to, I mean, we've got this surplus money, so, I mean, it would be a vast improvement to play area.
Yeah, we've still got to look at charity.
Okay, thanks, Darren.
Chantal,
Charity.
very quickly, very simple. Let's propose that we put it on the agenda, discuss it, and we can take it from there.
Just to go on the charity first.
Yeah, it's a charity.
Okay, so that should have gone.
And also, another advantage of it is to stop bicycles going straight across through the kids' play area when kids are on there, going at like 20 mile an hour.
So we'll have to relay that back.
When we've provided them with a path.
I propose that we relay that back to the charity.
Great. So Anna will relay that to the charity. Thanks very much.
Yeah, okay.
And
Is that all right, Kevin? We'll put it on the agenda.
so, item 17, Can we resolve to exclude the press and public due to the confidential nature of the business to be transacted? Sir?
We need to do 16 first.
We've done 16.
Sorry, I do apologise, we wanted to do it.
Yeah, we've done 16, we've gone back out of the public session, so now we're back in.
Can I know the public's gone now, but I'll maybe one of the other items.
Yes.
Are we confidential?
We're not in confidential yet,
We're not.
but I was just proposing that we resolve to do it. Clive, do you want to get something
No,
through
it
first?
was just one or two items that we're not going to get through. I thought we might have actually just gone back into the council meeting and finished as many of them, and then extended the meeting to confidential.
Well, I can't stay, unfortunately.
No, we didn't close the meeting, because nobody voted it, they've left us left. We haven't resolved to go into confidential session, so could I suggest we have another 10 minutes to allow to do whatever I want to do, and we resolve to go into confidential session at 9:30.
You can, yeah, I won't be able to stay, but that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
So we need a proposal to extend by 10 minutes. Seconder? All those in favour of suspending standing orders and allowing an extra 10 minutes?
Kind of going to finish now.
Sorry, Miles?
You want to go again?
Okay. Right, so we'll actually go.
Can we switch the cameras off if we're
Because we're still we're still in public session.
If you'd been here rather than going out and telling people what we're doing, you'd have known that we're going into confidential session.
No, we haven't.
No, we haven't, Stuart.
Again,
So if you
I
listen.
apologise in that case.
So the members of the public are allowed to be here. Yeah. For the benefit of members of the public, we didn't actually finish resolving to go into confidential session. We decided to extend by 10 minutes. Clive wanted to get through a few more items on the agenda, so we'll do that, then we'll go into confidential session. Clive, do you want to take any particular order?
Well, I think what we can dispose of is item 12.3, which is to approve sign for the old library, because that's not for us to approve, it's for RBC plans.
Right, that's an approval, so I think we can make a resolution. Can I put...
Sorry.
I've spoken to the RMBC, they said that as long as it's not illuminated and it's not over so many inches in height, then that's the council.
But does that meet their criteria? I know it's not really illuminated, but whatever that site meets it, it's not really...
The thing that I wrote up was, I suggested, well, if they're showing us a design and there's no objection to anything, we can raise no objection. But I think the person who wants to put the sign up there, I think he will have to formally apply the planning commission. Have we got it right to that? He doesn't have to apply the planning commission.
It could be like,
Have we, yeah, I know you've spoken about
could be like a supermarket, permitted development.
No, I'm just saying, the thing we need to be doing as a council is tying things up. Because it could come back in 6 months and say, by the way, there's a planning commission, we need some paper to say that we've spoken to.
Well,
I'm not being a bit pedantic.
I can confirm to the council that I spoke to Matthew Peck. He said if the letters are no more than 75 centimetres in height and they're not illuminated, there's no need for the planning commission. It's up to the landlord if they can.
Does it give an overall size of the sign, or just the letter size?
It doesn't mention the
Size, I know normally pub signs and things like that, anything else has to go to the planning. So if they're happy, if it's confirmed in the email, that's fine.
Proposal we approve.
Can I make an amendment, right? Actually, I can't make an amendment, it would negate it. I don't believe the council should be approving the sign. I think we should just raise no objection. Because if we approve the sign, we're sanctioning a sign for a private business, and I think we should just make no objection.
But with the
landlords?
Clark's stated that we include it as landlords.
That in itself approval.
Did you actually state on that?
Yeah.
That if the landlord doesn't make an objection? You said it's up to the landlord.
That's meant to have got to give them
If we don't make any comment,
But how big is the sign?
if we don't make any comment, then
We don't know how big the sign is.
not giving permission to a private business. That's what
And four.
Chairman, I'm going to have to leave, sorry.
Okay, we've got
Sorry
a,
about that.
no worries. We've got a proposal that has it been seconded? Christine seconded it. All those in favour of the proposal? Can you just keep your hands up for a second?
Are you not in favour?
Standing, it's not fixed in the group.
It's still current. It's still on the old side. It's still on the old side.
I said the letters and then all the 75 centimeters.
The proposal was to approve the
Millimetres, not centimetres.
Was it more than 5%? That was it, it was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it was 10 feet. No,
Yeah, that was carried.
I thought it was only 4.
Do you want to just put your hands again?
Can I approve it?
Sorry,
To approve the sign.
But around that, I just wanted clarification on the size of the sign.
5 foot by 4 foot.
So that's quite a sizable sign like this.
It's to replace the one that's already.
Look at the size of the building, Paul, it's not.
We've voted. It's just Stuart didn't see you, so he thought that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris, are you
Number 17, please.
number 17?
It isn't a listed building. So, no, is it really?
No, it's not quite a sign. Right, so,
Sorry, we've done the sign.
Yeah, right.
Item 17 then. Chris wants to take item 17.
Right, these speaking to Sandra, who's on
I've declared
the new skate park.
in just a second.
I have offered to
Well,
Sandra.
I was just going to say I've declared an interest in it, so. Are you sure I have to leave for this one?
As long as you don't
Because again, my understanding is as long as I don't comment.
Because the previous council has taken on legal advice, it can stay in the room.
As the skate park is on council stroke charity land, I personally believe there should be someone at their meetings who can bring the report back to the council to tell me what's going on at these meetings and how they've gone, and if they need any help. I'm of the mind that this committee or group or whatever they call themselves should have some credibility now, because they have got people on board for funding, and it looks like they're going to be more professional. So I'm offered to do it. If somebody else wants to do it, that's fine.
Jonathan Stewart.
Is Councillor Manchip's already on there? It's been obvious choice. He's already involved in it, and he has given us feedback in the past from the committee, so I don't think we need to appoint another councillor.
Can I answer that?
Can I just take Stuart and then?
Can I just ask a question? I'm going to make a couple of comments. Jonathan, are you on the standards committee, the RMDC?
We've got to do with actual...
It's a relevant question. Are you on the standards committee?
Irrelevant.
Right, no, it's a relevant question. Right, if you're on the standards committee at RMDC, I'm surprised you're suggesting that Miles be the representative. Miles is the chairman of a community group that's running a skate park project. He has a position of control over that group, and if he was to become a representative on this parish council, he therefore then is in a position of influencing the debates. And if a member of the public thinks that he is influencing debates more than other people, then he may well open himself up for a complaint against the standards committee. I'm quite surprised you don't know that. Can I just say, this item...
I don't really see what...
Excuse me, I'm still speaking. I'm still speaking. Don't speak over
Jonathan, let him speak and then we'll...
I'm still speaking, will you not speak over me, please? Right. This item with the skate park, and I keep pushing this every time it comes up, is the project that Miles is running is a project that has a potential to build a skate park on the old tennis courts. The tennis courts come under the auspice of the charity, and I keep saying that the skate park group should be liaising and talking to and working with the charity, not the council. So, could I suggest that I'm very happy that you're agreeing to be the liaison, but it needs to go in front of the charity to be talked about and approved. With a representative trustee.
Is this just for reps, Stuart?
Well, what I'm trying to say is, it's not a council issue. It's a charity issue. It should be discussed in the charity meeting, because it's an issue that's involving charity land.
Right, well, I just wanted council to say yes or no. Do you want me to represent the council and bring back reports about what's happening with the road, or don't you?
Right, I've no objection, but what I'm saying is, why are you bringing reports back to the council?
I'll
If it's a
bring it back to
charity
the
issue.
charity if you want me to.
Pardon?
I'll bring it back to the
That's
charity.
what I'm trying to say, but it needs to go onto the charity, so the charity representative trustees of the corporate body can turn around and say, yes, Christine, if they so wish, yes, Christine, we authorise you to be a liaison.
Well, I did say charity stroke council, and I would like an answer tonight, instead of you passing it over to somebody else.
But you've got to
I
pass it
think
to the
it's
charity,
right
that's the way things
issue.
work. That's the way it works. It's a pain in the backside, that's the way it works.
Well, can I bring the report back to the council then, regardless of the charity? Do you want to hear or don't you?
The other issue is, we can't make a resolution tonight, because it says to consider appointed, so we can't make a resolution.
Can we make
Jonathan.
an exception to this, please?
No, because if we're going to have one rule for one, we're going to have one rule for all.
Well, we've got somebody.
Consider, can I just interrupt? So to consider, the legal advice that we had, so that to consider could mean that we are able to make a decision. It's just if it's headed up us to receive an update that we shouldn't make a decision. Jonathan, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
So yeah, it's obviously the actual relevance of the Standards and Ethics Committee, as it is actually called. We know that. But I just think it's to liaise, in fact it's not to influence anything. Miles has liaised with the charity on reports and photos of the skate room, and what they're doing then, same thing. So that's all. I'm not objecting to any bit, appointing anybody else. But do we need to appoint somebody when we have somebody who was involved, who has, over the past years, liaised with charities? And that's all.
I would not be stopping Miles from doing what he does.
That's not the issue, I'm just saying.
But there have been a lot of times when Miles has not been able to be at the meeting. Sandra has specifically asked me to go. If Miles wants to go as well, I won't stop him doing that. And if Miles doesn't want to go, then I will still be able to bring the report.
It is to consider appointing the council.
Yeah, well, I've just said that I will do it if nobody else wants to do it. Miles isn't doing it at the moment.
Can you say, there is a standing order with regards to respect, and you are not giving people respect.
Can I stand on a point of order, please, Chair? Can I stand on a point of order?
Point of order, Councillor Thornton.
Right. I think it's unacceptable, regardless of what Councillor Sanders did, it's unacceptable for another councillor to stand up, lean over the table and make threats at another councillor about what she said or done. If anything needs to be done, it has to be done by the Chair.
Right,
It's unacceptable to shout at councillors on conduct.
So all I was doing,
Colin.
Don't talk
Well, I just let me reply to this, now I'm going to go and then carry on. But
You
I
can't
have
threaten
to
people.
And well, I've been on the table, not been over the table.
You was earlier on.
It's standing over a point of order. I'm going to say stand straight. So anyway.
I can be as pedantic as you, Councillor, and if you want to start playing games, you should not threaten other councillors in a council meeting.
Miles, and then we'll vote on it because we're already 4 minutes into the extra time that we've
As a
got.
group, we haven't actually made that decision. That was a conversation between Andrew, but we will welcome the volunteers support. But we haven't discussed it. Well, as a group we've not voted on that. But we will welcome the vote. So there was only Sandra there.
No, there wasn't. She met with somebody else.
From Brown. But they're not members. They're not members.
Who is the member?
James Brown. Well, I've got a big list, but 2 people should
They
have.
don't come out, so I can remember.
They do. Just ever
Excuse me, but they don't. And neither do you want to
Can we round this up?
Right, look, you want it to be liaison, don't you?
Do we have a proposal for the council, not the charity, to have a liaison with the skate park group?
I propose.
Oh, proposed by, well, I suppose you proposed it first, didn't you? One of you proposing. Clive's proposing that we have a link. Are you going to second it?
Okay.
Christine? All those in favour of having...
Do I vote for myself?
You cannot make a proposal.
Are we going to
You have to take that
to consider appointing? So, it's to consider appointing. So not to name a person, I suppose that's the next bit, but to consider appointing a link to the, yeah, we can make
I
a...
just asked the clerk, I think that's for a letter from the Sandra needs a letter. She needs it in writing that the charity or the council, I think it's the council, because the council are responsible for the upkeep, that the council will approve the existing site for the new skate park.
The council can't approve it because it's not council land.
Well, can I just speak to her about it first?
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is this
Thank
man...
you, I'll come back to you in a minute. Did you get my email about that? When was this? I'm not sure. Not that long ago, couple of weeks.
Oh.
Yeah,
Is it something that you need an answer
she
about
needs,
now?
she needs, no, she needs it to sit on the line with you. Do you want to email me?
Can we, yeah, because we're running out of time. So the proposal that's on the table is to appoint a councillor to liaise with the skate park group. So we've got it proposed, we've got it seconded. Can we just have a show of hands for a councillor to liaise with the skate park group? 4.
I thought it were a charity issue and not a council issue, so why do we need to vote on it?
To get it out of the way.
Because Sandra
Yes.
just asked me.
So that was...
to put it on the agenda, to give an answer.
Yeah. So that's carried.
The two people causing all the trouble have left, and that's the problem.
Well, I just want to point out that my house is not on the skate park, committee group, whatever, as councillor. He's there, as I understand it, he's chair. Are you there as their chair? Right, she now wants a councillor.
Okay, we really need to get into
Can I
confidential
propose that
session.
we now go into formal confidential sessions, please?
We have a councillor, we need to go away and think about who wants to stand to be that councillor to represent it, and we'll put that on the agenda for next time when we're all here and we've all had time. Great, so can we resolve to go into confidential session? It will only be for a few minutes.
Can I propose that we resolve to exclude the press and public due to the confidential nature of the business to be transacted? That's a proposal?
Yeah.
All those in favour? Okay.
And I propose that